Welcome back to Satisfactory 1.2 Experimental. I did have another episode recorded where I built a copper setup. Unfortunately, the video was really stuttering, and it was all the way through the video, not just one part. I'm not sure what the problem was, but I just decided to skip that one. Basically, I'll show you here. You can see my hub over there, and over here I built a copper facility. It's got some constructors making making wire and cable, and the smelters are all down there, and it's nice and neat on platforms. It's fine. Nothing too special. We'll do more later when we get better builds. You know, this is all just basic starting stuff. But we have two constructors making wire. Well, three constructors making wire, and one of those is continuing to make cable. The other two are just stocking up on wire, and they're being collected in the storage containers. So what are we working on next? We have another milestone to complete, and this one is part assembly. We have the cable. We don't have too much else, so we're going to have to concentrate and focus on creating our iron facility this time around. So I did start making some platforms, some foundations in preparation for that. It's time to place our second miner. It's going to be right there. And I'm trying to decide if I want to place it at 90 degrees, but I think better of it. I'll just place it the normal way. Here I'm looking at the foundations around the miner. I have an idea of how I want to do some decorating, and that's going to require me to remove the foundations right around the miner and replace them with ones that are lower. And you'll see it's going to be kind of a rounded border around the miner, and it'll be neat. I'll come back and check on my concrete. Got tons of concrete. It's nice. With that concrete, I am able to pretty much make as many foundations as I want. So I have Logistics Mark II now, and it's time to upgrade the concrete factory so that I can make at least a decent amount more. So we've got now 120 limestone coming in there, and we should be able to run 3 constructors. They won't be quite at 100%, but they would be close to it. So we're going to add another merger here, or another splitter, excuse me, and get that one going. And I've spotted a slug that I decided I need to grab it. So I'm just going to get some ramps and just walk our way up. No problem. And it's time to get going on our iron area, so I'm going to add some more foundations. Quite a few more. I did have plenty of concrete. It's time to put down the smelters, the first smelters anyway. We can place 4 smelters for this miner that's currently off to my right. So I've got those all the way down, and look, it's the first evidence of the 1.2 feature of weather effects. It is raining. I think it's a really cool feature. This sound is kind of overpowering. It kind of overwrites every other, or a lot of the other sounds. And if you go, let's say, under the cover of the hub, it immediately disappears. It just kind of sounds odd. You'd think you'd still hear it in the distance. Still, the effects are really nice. No gameplay effect really, but it does definitely add ambiance. I have made this gap just wide enough that I can put 2 sets of mergers in there. I can't each set of smelters is making just the amount of ingots that my belts can carry, so I can't combine them into one set of mergers. I have to have 2 separate sets. So, and I'm skipping a lot of the tedium, showing just the highlights. That's how I cut a 2.5-hour video down to under an hour. Lucky you. Now I'm placing the splitters. I have a little more room. Those mergers were kind of cramped in there. They're fine, but I have a little more room for splitters. And we'll get those spaced out properly. Running the belt from the miner to the splitters is always a little interesting because the miners are never going to be exactly on the world grid, so you kind of have to, each individual miner is going to have its own quirks. This time straight mode actually seemed to do a really good job. It's a little odd on the slope there, but it'll work. And I realized, well, I knew ahead that I had to power all these machines. So we're going to get ready to make our little biomass facility here. Nothing special. Biomass burners placed in a row, fed with splitters. And I'm going to do a little different than maybe usual. And I have the biomass constructors up a level. You'll see here in a minute, build a ramp and build an upper level where I place the actual biomass constructors to turn the leaves and wood into biomass and then solid biofuel. And again, this looks kind of tedious, but I've actually cut a lot out, placing the burners and the splitters and the belts and now the power cables. It takes a few minutes, but there's no need for you to see the whole thing, so I'll just kind of show the highlights. And now I'm placing the solid biofuel in there, grabbing the last bit out of my old solid biofuel apparatus to have enough to fill these burners. And I do end up adding 2 more burners. Later in this episode you'll see, and I'll explain why. And now I'm running the power from the biomass area to the smelters. I'm trying to do it in a neat way. All the poles running at right angles, trying to keep them as close to lined up on those foundation borders as possible. And you can definitely do a pole per machine. For these early things, I tend to do two machines per pole. It saves on resources. I am definitely looking forward though to unlocking daisy chaining of machines later on in the MAM. I think it'll be much more convenient. And so we have iron ore coming out to be smelted at 120 per minute. I have forgotten a couple of belts or run a belt incorrectly. It's curved when it should be straight. And we'll find that out in a few minutes. But in the meantime, I'm going to add more foundations because I can. So now I'm taking the other set of smelters and adding its splitters. They actually don't get turned on this episode, but they will be the first things that I work on in the next episode. To me, one of the best parts of making a new layout, upgrading and building more organized machines is getting to delete the crap that I built previously. So we can ignore all that stuff that was building before, and we're just gonna turn that belt around from the miner and run it right into the new machines. And here's where I start to build my upper level biomass construction area. It's very simplistic. You've got 2 constructors that lead into one is processing leaves and one wood into biomass. They go into a merger, and then another constructor that makes solid biofuel from the biomass, and then to a storage crate, and then finally to this conveyor lift that brings it down to the biomass burners. So I kind of build it backwards from what I just said, but you'll see it as it unfolds here. And again, I get to deconstruct the old biomass system that it served me well at the beginning, but is no longer needed now that we have something better. Something I did cut out, which you are fortunate not to have seen, is I originally accidentally put wood into that storage container there. The thumbnail icons kind of look similar between biomass and wood, and I had to completely redo that whole area. But now I fixed it. It's got solid biofuel in there, and then again I get to delete my old iron plate construction area and reclaim some green space here. Not too much, but a couple of rows of foundations. And I will eventually move the hub and other administrative buildings, but that time is not yet. I haven't decided exactly how I want to do that yet. I spent some time handcrafting screws and plates. Off camera, you're welcome. And we're almost done with part assembly. We just need some rods. So here is some more rods, some more screws, some more reinforced iron plates, and cut down for your enjoyment. And we finally have everything we need for part assembly.
Milestone reached. The assembler can produce more complex parts, including the first project part, smart plating, which is crucial for initiating project assembly. Project parts must be delivered to the space elevator. By completing your contracted duties as part of project assembly, you will definitely be helping achieve Fix-It company goals without any other ulterior motive. Note: humans cannot craft project parts. Do not worry about your inadequate crafting skill when compared to an assembler. Fix-It cherishes your innate human abilities, such as walking, striking objects,
we're down
and
to just
commodifying natural
resource
resources.
sync program and jump pads. So, of course, I select resource sync next. And it's time to add the constructors. We're going to do some constructors that will make rods and screws. Again, I do have the cast screw recipe, which helps quite a bit. And these will be two constructors of each, 2 constructors of rods, 2 constructors of screws. Really doesn't even use half of the ingots coming out of there, but we'll get there. And once that's done, those will go into a storage container, and we can use those for milestones that are upcoming. And so how do you do a merger manifold when you've got 2 different products coming out that you don't really want to combine on a sushi belt? Well, I decided that I was going to, well, you'll see here in 1 second. I've got mergers for the first 2, those are going to be the rods. And we're going to, for the second set, we're going to elevate the splitters and have them come out from a lift. And you will note, well, you may note, I didn't see it at first. I did see it as I was editing this video, that I left off the belt between those 2 mergers. So I'm only getting half the screws for the entire rest of this video. I'm only getting half the screws that I should be getting into my storage. But that will be rectified at the very start of the next video. It's always a little difficult to be certain that your lifts are lined up with each other. And I think this time I just left them at the default height. But once you start raising them, you have to be careful. If you want your belts to be straight, you have to be careful to make them the default height. And apparently I needed my splitters to be one level higher, but I didn't care too much. We've got the lifts for the screws. There's two different ways you can place them. You can place them that way, or you can aim at the merger, and that's the way I tend to do it. I don't mind if the lifts clip into the machines all that much. Sometimes they look funny when they clip into the larger mergers, so it depends on the situation which way I go about doing that. And you can see right here that I do not have a belt between those two mergers, and it is a problem, but we have enough screws to get through the episode, so it's not a major problem. At this point, I worried a bit about using Mark I belts here, but because I didn't have very many reinforced iron plates, but it actually ended up not mattering. The rod constructors use 15 apiece, and the screw constructors use 12.5 iron ingots apiece, so that's 30 and 25. That's only 55 that are being used, not even half of what's being produced in those smelters at this point, so we didn't have any trouble with the Mark I belts. Again, for these simple layouts, I think that 2 machines per power pole is fine. You can certainly do 1 pole per machine. I don't think it's necessary in this case. This is a starter base. It's not going to be our permanent layout. And for the first couple of phases, it's going to do what we need it to do. And there we go. Our constructors are complete. So, what's next? We will start placing the items for resource sync program. And again, rods are what I'm short on. So, and right here, I wanted to show this. It was a little interesting. I decided to take the biomass, or the solid biofuel, out of the hub burners. I'm not using them anymore. But as you'll see, it was a little premature because I do end up using them for something very specific. Grab the rods and screws, the few that have been produced so far. And we go back and put the last ingredient, the rods, into resource sync program, and we can build ourselves an awesome sync.
Milestone
awesome
reached.
shop.
You have been given access to the anti-waste effort for stress testing of materials on Exoplanet's bonus program, also known as AWESOME. Your awesome input allows Fixit to comprehend our amazing universe more clearly.
I was a little bored and wanted to
In
see how
appreciation
far I
of
could
this, we
track
have generously
the
set up an internal, closed economy with exclusive
drop pod,
rewards and currency.
and the answer
Directing
is
parts of
not
varying
far enough.
quantity and
And don't worry, I
complexity
won't
into the
keep
awesome
doing
resource
that
sink will
for
grant
every
Fixit
milestone.
coupons. These coupons can be redeemed in the Awesome Shop for highly desirable items such as new foundations, walls, factory attachments, cosmetics, parts, and more. Next time you have additional resources, just remember to go that extra kilometer. Go awesome.
And here I note that I need reinforced iron plates, which was a recurring theme for this episode. And I also craft a couple of modular frames because there's something very specific that I want to create that I've been waiting, really needed to wait for part assembly in order to get it. Craft a little bit of silica, grab some other modular frames that I had found, and go back and grab the rotors that I also need in order to build Blade Runners. I now have the ability to jump higher, move faster, and avoid some fall damage. Yay! It's decoration time. The resource sink milestone unlocks the customizer, so we can go around and I decide to paint, not having the chrome finish unlocked. I decide to paint all of our iron works a nice gray color. I don't know if that'll stick around forever. I do enjoy the chrome for my iron things, but we will see. Some nice color instead of orange. Constant orange. Fix-it orange. I detest Fix-it orange. The hub's still orange for now, but we'll get that taken care of eventually too. And I'm not going to edit any colors at the moment, so I'm just turning my biomass burners that ugly olive green that comes by default in the color swatches. I don't care for it. I'll probably change it later. And then we're going to get a reddish brown kind of color. That swatch down there on the bottom row for our copper. Again, once I unlock in the Awesome Shop the copper finish, we can change all this to that finish. I'm leaving the belts at the default color for now because a lot of the belts are going to end up being upgraded soon. And unfortunately, belts don't survive an upgrade with their color intact. They change back to the default color. So for right now, I'm just leaving the belts orange. They're not too terrible. And it's finally time to build the Awesome Sink. And in case anyone is not familiar or has forgotten, the Awesome Sink can't be directly added to. It needs to be fed from a storage. And here I realize I don't really have a whole lot that I can put in. I haven't done that much exploring for advanced things. The few advanced things I do have, I want to keep for unlocks. So I do have some reanimated sand, and I can make more of that easily enough. And I also am able to make a bunch of DNA capsules. So that is what I feed the sink for its inaugural use. And I forgot about the power usage, 30 megawatts on its own just for the awesome thing. But I still have that 40 megawatts there from the hub burners. So I just decided, well, we can use that since the awesome sink doesn't run constantly at this point. We'll just hook it to the hub and not have to worry about it. And probably that biomass will last a long time, if not forever, until we decide to do something different. And something weird is going on with that belt, but it's fine. It's still feeding, so we're getting tickets, coupons, fixing coupons, and we end up with 19. And it is, in fact, 19 coupons. That's enough to buy concrete foundations and a few other things. And so we have the awesome shop. It is, in fact, quite awesome. I rely on a lot of the things in there. We're going to get some floor holes, and we're going to get some concrete foundations, wall power outlets, I believe I add also. And curved, what is it, half pipe foundations, and the ladder, I think that is about it. Yes, that's 18 coupons.
All fixed vetted materials are tested for toxins, hallucinogens,
I'm
and
checking
other
my power
biologically
here, but
adverse
everything's
effects.
fine.
Pioneers are
What we
advised not
actually
to immerse
heard
themselves
a
in
minute
these
ago,
materials and not to
the
lick,
fuse blown,
eat, breathe
was
in, or otherwise consume them.
the concrete factory, which was running off of a single biomass burner. So we're going to fix that. There's no real reason to show a long ass power line being dragged across the grassy field, so I just cut most of it out. And now that our main power grid has reached this area, we can delete this empty biomass burner and this oddly placed foundation that it was sitting in. And then we head home. Just in time to convert all of our fix-it foundations into concrete foundations. It changes the look oh so much, and I cut most of it out also. just showing you bits and pieces of all that conversion. There's no real reason to show every single piece of concrete being laid. And oops, I am out of solid biomass. What I had placed there at the beginning of this video is completely transported out. Not completely burned yet. The burners are still fairly full, but I don't have any excess, so definitely need to get our processing going. And I placed floor holes right in front of those constructors, not realizing that that's going to bring them right over some biomass burners, and they're really in the way. So instead I end up moving the floor holes. You can see one of the lifts placed right there. The floor holes end up being moved farther back away from the machines so that they can get to where the storage is going to be placed for the leaves and wood. Here is the new location of the floor holes, and they are going to work out just fine. Everything here is Mark 1 right now. I do end up having to upgrade some of it to Mark 2 later on, which is difficult since I still don't have a good supply of reinforced iron plates yet. It'll come in time. And believe it or not, I just eyeballed those the position of those storage containers. What they actually do, they are close enough to walk onto the lifts, which is great. And brown for wood, green for leaves, ugly green that we can change later. And now that our leaves and wood are being constructed, we need to finish the job. I realize it's not all going to fit in the space that I have laid out like that. So we're just going to kind of turn them sideways. So we will bring the constructor out toward me for the solid biofuel. And after that we will turn the storage container around and face it sideways, and it'll be fine. The belt hangs a little bit over the edge of the platform, but who knows, that platform may expand anyway. And and the biomass begins flowing. We will soon have our solid biofuel, leaving that storage container and going down into, there we go, going down into our biomass burners. I've also got to redo the power for the copper area. It got disconnected when I disconnected the hub biomass burners. We're going to run, currently the copper, at least the copper smelting is running on its own biomass burner down here. So we're going to get it onto the main grid. Get rid of this biomass burner down here by the copper miner. And once we do that, we will have everything on the same grid. Also, with part assembly being unlocked, we now have access to copper sheets. So since we have plenty of copper, we will be adding a constructor for copper sheets as well. And I believe we'll still have plenty of copper left over. But that's fine. It'll get used again in time. So we're just going to do another turn the splitter into a manifold, and from there just set up another constructor for copper sheets, just like we do for the wire, and let it build up. We won't need it until the next phase. Just need to get another storage container down, and the copper sheets should start to flow. That is, as soon as we get power. I believe there's a empty power connection over there. I just put down one of those poles. We will figure it out eventually. There we go. Just run it across. Who cares if it looks messy? Again, this is all just temporary. There we go. Now we have copper sheets in production and being stored. And with all those machines now hooked up to our grid, I present to you a chainsaw biomass montage. We interrupt the forest chainsaw massacre to place a ladder and investigate what's up here. What do we find? Ah, a Mercer sphere. Awesome.
Follow the veins to the altar and chant.
We're too far away. Ah. Yet somehow we still won't take any fall damage. But we're just going to have to do some parkour to get up there instead. And it's a crash site, but this crash site, if you remember from previous episode, we stripped it of everything that we could get. We just didn't have the power to open it. So it's time to come back and open it. So enjoy the misadventures of me inexpertly killing these hogs, and then grabbing the hard drive and dismantling the remaining pieces. I honestly don't know what got into me that I thought that putting a catwalk ramp down would be a good way to fight the opponents. Even if it was a good idea, I failed to put it in a great spot because the enemies are able to get right up onto the ramp with me. So while I did survive, not exactly the wisest tactic. As always, the good old biomass burner tactic for providing power. We need 40 megawatts, which means 2 burners. There's actually a heavy modular frame from dismantling that particular drop pod, which is awesome.
It's raining kittens and puppies out there.
And apparently, Ada has weather voice lines. That's the first one I've heard for sure. Now enjoy me, again, inexpertly fighting a spitter in order to get a Mercer Scare that is buried in the ground. I was just kind of wandering around and realized I didn't have mycelia yet. So
The fruit of this
now I
fungus-like
have
flora
mycelia.
does not seem to show much potential for use. However, its mycelial network is worth further investigation. Research it in the MAM to establish classification and potential application.
And I'm back, and I can now throw my large quantities of wood and leaves into the storage to be processed for biomass and solid biofuel. I still have a good bit of fuel left in those burners, but it's definitely I definitely don't want to run out, so it's good that I got some more. So since I deleted 2 biomass burners, one at the concrete factory and one at the copper facility, I decided to replace those, add 2 more burners to this area, so that it kind of equalizes us back to where we were. So they're on the other side of these splitters, and they will eventually fill up from all that biomass we just collected. I'm opening up the filters so that I can see all of my different types of foundations I can make, so that I can start the decoration. I want to put some rounded pieces around the miners, and so I'm just kind of playing with an idea here, and unfortunately I don't have the half foundations, so that'll be the next thing that I need to buy from the awesome shop to continue this idea. We'll see if it works out, but what I kind of wanted to do is put a rounded border around these miners, and you'll see what it looks like. If anybody has a suggestion on how to change it or modify it, there will be some half foundations in between these rounded pieces, so you'll see what that looks like here at the end. Not a whole lot else to say for this episode. Next time around we'll be working on iron plates, maybe get into some assemblers. I will fix that belt on the screws. That's only giving me half my screws, and see what else we can get into. I can't wait to be able to finish this phase so that we can get into trucks and of course coal power. There's no water in the grassy fields, or very little anyway, so it'll be interesting to try to explore and find a good spot for coal. But that's pretty much it for this episode. Enjoy me sitting here trying to position curved concrete pieces. Again, we'll see if anything can come of that. Maybe next time I'll have enough Pixie coupons to buy the half foundations, and I can flesh out that idea a little more. Thanks for watching, and we'll hopefully see you all in the next episode. Bye.